Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Lent Podcast with me, Shona.
And with me, Dave.
And we are going to continue today looking at our theme about healings and miracles that Jesus did on his time on earth. So, Dave, over to you.
Yeah, and today we're not looking at healing, we're looking at a different kind of miracle. So, Shona, can you tell me, have you ever been in a big storm that you remember?
Do you know what? I actually have. Now, every summer I go down to a place called Minas Bay, which is in Kent, and it's on the seaside. It's like a little seasidey place. And one year there was a storm, and so me and my dad went and stood on the promenade, and these waves were crashing over. It was actually quite cool.
That does sound cool. Was it scary? Were you scared?
I wasn't actually that scared because I'd never seen anything like it before, so it's quite exciting.
Yeah, and I guess you could just go back to the dry ground whenever you wanted. Like you weren't in the middle of the sea.
Oh yeah,
you were
you
were safe.
And I was higher than most of the waves.
There you go. Whereas, so I once was in a big storm on a boat. So I was out on a boat and I was sailing with some people. And suddenly the weather turned and it was a huge, huge storm. And it was blowing us the wrong way. It was blowing us further away from land. And it was really choppy and it was really difficult. One of my friends who was there felt very, very, very sick. And then in the middle of all of this, one of the sails on our boat that we were using, it split from top to bottom. It tore in two. And we were there going, oh no, what's going to happen now? And it was really, really scary because unlike you, I couldn't just go to dry ground. Yeah. I couldn't just run away. We were there in the middle of the water. So with that in mind, can you read our story for today?
Of course I can. This is from Luke chapter 8, and I'm going to be reading verses 22 to 25. One day, Jesus said to his disciples, "Let's cross to the other side of the lake." So they got into a boat and started out. As they sailed across, Jesus settled down for a nap. But soon a fierce storm came down on the lake. The boat was filling with water and they were in real danger. The disciples went and woke him up, shouting, "Master, Master, we're going to drown." When Jesus woke up, he rebuked the wind and the raging waves. Suddenly, the storm stopped and all was calm.
Wow. I wish when I was on that boat and the sail had just torn from top to bottom and we didn't know what to do and it was scary and windy and rainy and wavy, I wish I could have just turned to the waves and said, stop. And that's exactly what Jesus was able to do. And these people that he was on a boat with, they were fishermen, a lot of them. And they knew what to do on a boat. They knew what to do in a storm. And the fact that they were scared shows that this was a really, really bad storm. And Shona, do you remember where Jesus was, where they found him in the middle of the storm?
He was having a nap.
He was having a nap. He was asleep. I want to ask the question today, why is it that Jesus could sleep in the middle of that massive storm? Everyone else was terrified. Water was coming over. It was filling the boat. And Jesus is perfectly calm. He's fast asleep. He's not worried at all. Well, I want to suggest that the reason that he wasn't scared and that he could sleep is that the storm might have been bigger than the boat. It might have been bigger than the disciples, but the storm wasn't bigger than Jesus. The reason that you said you weren't afraid when you were on that promenade with all the waves crashing around is that you were above them all. You were higher than them all, and you could get to dry ground, and the land was way bigger than these waves. Big waves, bigger land. And when we're in the middle of something that's bigger than us, of course it's terrifying. When I was on that fairly small boat in the middle of that massive storm, it was really scary. But Jesus is bigger than the storm. Jesus is bigger than the danger around, and so he was able to be at peace. And actually, his friends could have been too, because they should have gone, he's there, and he is bigger than this. We know that he's more powerful than this, and so we can trust in him. Jesus was with them, so they didn't need to be afraid. See, sometimes when we look around at the storms in our life, the difficult things, they can feel so big, and we can feel so small and helpless. I want to remind you today that Jesus is bigger than all of them. So he can be at peace, and I think you can as well. So today my question for you is, what kind of storms are you facing in your life? I don't mean actual storms with wind and waves. What I mean is, what kinds of things are difficult at the moment? And where is Jesus in all of those? That's my question for today.
That's a great question, Dave. Thanks so much for unpacking those verses for us. I know I'm going to enjoy thinking about them now.
Cool. We'll see you again tomorrow.
See you tomorrow. Bye.
Bye.